Have you ever pondered why empires so grand and mighty rise only to eventually fall? This tale of time is as old as civilization itself. Empires, in their magnificence, have always been subject to a life cycle, much like the ebb and flow of the tides. They emerge, often unexpectedly, born out of the ashes of turmoil and chaos. They rise, expanding their influence across lands far and wide, propelled by innovation, leadership, and sheer ambition. They reach their zenith, commanding awe and respect on the global stage, their imprint indelible in the annals of history. Yet they are not immortal. Inevitably, they decline, succumbing to internal strife, external conflicts, or the relentless march of time itself. And so, they fall, their glory fading into the echoes of the past, leaving behind legacies and lessons for future generations. Now let's embark on this journey through time, charting the course of 10 major empires. Our first stop takes us to the banks of the Nile, where the Egyptian Empire reigned supreme. Emerging from the fertile lands around the Nile, the Egyptian Empire was a beacon of civilization in a world yet to be enlightened. The rise of the empire was marked by the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt under the rule of the first pharaoh, around 3100 BC, and it subsequently blossomed into a powerful entity that left an indelible mark on human history. The empire reached its zenith under the rule of Ramses II, who is often regarded as the greatest, most celebrated, and most powerful pharaoh of the New Kingdom. His reign was marked by extensive building programs and several military expeditions, which solidified Egypt's status as a formidable power. However, all great things must come to an end, and so did the Egyptian Empire. The gradual fall of the empire was marked by internal strife, invasions, and a series of weak pharaohs. The death knell was the conquest by Alexander the Great in 332 BC, which marked the end of native Egyptian rule. Yet the Egyptian Empire's legacy is far from forgotten. The pyramids, the Sphinx, and countless artifacts continue to inspire awe and curiosity, painting a vivid picture of an empire that once was. The hieroglyphs, the mummification, the pantheon of gods, all stand as a testament to a civilization that was ahead of its time. The Egyptian Empire fell, yet its monuments still stand as silent testimony to its greatness. As the Egyptian Empire waned, the Persian Empire was on the ascendancy. Rising out of what is now Iran, the Persian Empire began its expansion under the rule of Cyrus the Great. A visionary leader, Cyrus transformed a collection of disparate tribes into a unified force, extending his power across Central Asia and into Europe. At its zenith, the Persian Empire was a beacon of culture, wealth, and power, boasting marvelous cities like Persepolis and Pasargadae. It was renowned for its tolerance of diverse cultures and religions, its intricate system of roads, and its efficient bureaucracy. However, like any empire, it was not immune to decline. Overextension of resources, internal power struggles, and the relentless onslaught of Alexander the Great all contributed to its downfall. The Persian Empire, once the epitome of power and grandeur, was eventually consumed by its own ambition. Yet, its legacy lives on, a testament to the heights that human civilization can reach when guided by vision and unity. From the ashes of the Persian Empire rose a new power, the Greek Empire. This remarkable civilization took flight around 800 BC, reaching its zenith under the legendary leadership of Alexander the Great. This Macedonian king, with his unquenchable thirst for conquest, expanded Greek influence from Egypt to India, creating one of the largest empires of the ancient world. The Greek Empire was not only a military power but also a cradle of culture, philosophy, and sciences. Names like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle still echo in our ears, their ideas shaping modern thought. However, Greek glory was not to last forever. Following Alexander's untimely death, the empire was fragmented, torn apart by internal strife and power struggles. The once mighty Greeks were left vulnerable, their empire ripe for the taking. It was then that a new power emerged from the West, the Romans. The Greek Empire, a beacon of knowledge and culture, eventually succumbed to the might of Rome. The Roman Empire, perhaps the most iconic of them all, was next to rise. Emerging from the Italian peninsula in the 3rd century BC, the Roman Empire would go on to dominate the Mediterranean world, stretching from the British Isles to the deserts of North Africa and from Spain to the Middle East. The rise of the Roman Empire was marked by a series of military victories and territorial expansions under notable leaders like Julius Caesar. Caesar, a master tactician, expanded the empire into Gaul, modern-day France, and famously crossed the Rubicon River, seizing power in Rome and effectively ending the Roman Republic. Following Caesar's assassination, his adopted son Augustus took the helm, ushering in the era known as the Pax Romana, or Roman peace. This was a period of relative calm and stability, during which the empire flourished. Rome was at its peak, boasting advancements in architecture, literature, and law that still influence our world today. However, like all empires, Rome was not immune to decline. The fall of the Roman Empire is a complex tale involving a web of issues such as political corruption, economic instability, military overspending, and societal decay. The very things that once made Rome great, its vast territory and diverse population, became its downfall. It became increasingly difficult to manage such a sprawling empire, leading to its fragmentation. The Roman Empire, a symbol of military might and administrative efficiency, ultimately fell to its own internal decay. But its legacy lives on, reminding us of the transient nature of power and the importance of internal stability. While Europe was plunged in the Dark Ages, the Mongol Empire was sweeping across Asia. It was a force that arose seemingly out of nowhere, under the leadership of Temujin, who would later become known as Genghis Khan. With his unyielding determination and military genius, he united the Mongol tribes and set the stage for an empire that would stretch from the Pacific Ocean to the heart of Europe. At its peak, the Mongol Empire was an awe-inspiring spectacle of power, innovation, and cultural exchange. It was a time when the Silk Road thrived, fostering unprecedented levels of trade and cultural exchange. However, like all great empires, the Mongol Empire was not immune to the forces of change. After the death of Genghis Khan, the empire began to fracture under the weight of internal strife and disunity. This vast empire, which had once struck fear into the hearts of its enemies, slowly crumbled. The Mongol Empire, the largest contiguous land empire in history, eventually succumbed to internal strife and disunity. As the Mongol Empire crumbled, a new power was rising in the east, the Ottoman Empire. Emerging from the remnants of the Seljuk Sultanate of Rum, the Ottoman Empire began its rise to prominence in the early 14th century under the rule of Osman I. The zenith of the empire was arguably reached under Suleiman the Magnificent, who reigned from 1520 to 1566. His reign saw dramatic territorial expansion, cultural development, and the consolidation of Ottoman legal code. Suleiman's rule marked an era of artistic, architectural, and literary growth, making the empire a major hub of culture. However, the empire began to decline in the late 17th century, losing territories and struggling with internal conflict. Despite attempts at reform in the 19th century, the empire could not withstand the pressures of nationalistic movements and global politics. The Ottoman Empire, a bridge between the East and the West, finally fell at the end of World War I. The empire's legacy, however, continues to influence the modern world. From the ashes of the Ottoman Empire, the British Empire emerged as the dominant global power. Starting as a network of overseas colonies and trading posts in the late 16th century, it expanded rapidly during the 18th century, driven by the Industrial Revolution and the pursuit of new markets. The British Empire was unique in its global reach, ruling over a quarter of the world's population at its peak. The 19th century was dubbed Britain's Imperial Century. This was a time when the map was coloured red, marking the territories under British dominion. From Australia to India, South Africa to Canada, the empire's power was unrivaled, and the phrase, "the sun never sets on the British Empire," was coined. However, empires are not immune to decline. The 20th century brought two world wars that drained Britain's resources. Following the Second World War, the process of decolonization began. India, the jewel in the crown, gained independence in 1947, triggering a wave of independence movements across the empire. The Suez Crisis of 1956 marked the end of Britain's status as a superpower. The rapid decolonization that ensued saw the empire reduced to a few scattered islands and outposts. The sun finally set on the British Empire, yet its influence is still evident in many parts of the world. From the English language to parliamentary democracy, the legal system to sporting traditions, the empire's legacy continues to shape today's global landscape. The 20th century saw the rise of a new kind of empire, the Soviet Union. Established in 1922, the Soviet Union was the world's first constitutionally socialist state, a grand experiment in communism on a scale never before seen. Its rise was swift and formidable, built on the principles of centralized planning and state ownership. At its peak, the Soviet Union was a superpower, with influence stretching across the globe. However, the very foundations that fueled its ascent also sowed the seeds of its downfall. The centralized economy, while initially effective, became increasingly inefficient and unresponsive to the people's needs. The rigid political structure stifled innovation and dissent, leading to stagnation. Coupled with a costly arms race with the United States, these internal pressures eventually led to the empire's collapse. The Soviet Union, a symbol of the Cold War, eventually disintegrated in 1991. Its fall signaled not just the end of an empire, but the end of an era in world history. In the aftermath of the Cold War, the United States emerged as the world's sole superpower. The nation had been steadily rising since the late 18th century, but the 20th century saw its ascendance to the pinnacle of global power. Its economic strength and military might, combined with the allure of the American dream, all contributed to its rise. During the peak of its power, the United States wielded significant influence across the globe. It played a pivotal role in shaping the world order, fostering democracy, and promoting free trade. The American culture, with its films, music, and technology, permeated every corner of the world, making it a cultural powerhouse as much as a political one. However, the United States, like all empires before it, is not immune to the ebb and flow of power. The 21st century has seen the emergence of new global players, and with them, new challenges. Economic uncertainty, political polarization, and external threats all pose significant challenges to its hegemonic status. Yet, it's worth noting that the United States is unique in its resilience. Its democratic institutions, innovative spirit, and diverse populace have allowed it to adapt and overcome adversity time and time again. The United States, the current global hegemon, faces many challenges as it navigates the 21st century. Will it continue to adapt and maintain its position, or will it too, like the empires of old, experience a decline? Only time will tell. So, what can we learn from the rise and fall of these empires? A common thread weaved through our journey across ages is the impermanence of power. Empires, no matter how grand, have an expiration date. The Egyptian Empire, for instance, was a testament to the longevity of culture and civilization. Yet even it succumbed to the sands of time. And then there were the Persians, a formidable force that faltered due to internal strife and external pressures. The Greek Empire, a beacon of wisdom and democracy, fell to the hands of the Romans, showing us that even the most enlightened societies can be overthrown. The Romans themselves, despite their architectural prowess and meticulous legal systems, were unable to withstand the test of time. Their decline gives us a stark reminder that internal decay often precedes external invasion. The Mongols, the masters of the steppe, who commanded an empire stretching from the Pacific to the Danube, fell victim to their own success. Their rapid expansion led to overreach, fragmentation, and eventual downfall. The Ottoman Empire, a cross-continental titan, lost its vitality due to stagnation and inability to adapt to changing times. Similarly, the British Empire, at its zenith, the largest empire in history, couldn't sustain its global dominance. The sun finally set on the empire due to overextension, war fatigue, and rising nationalistic sentiments. In the more recent past, the Soviet Union, despite its military prowess and ideological influence, collapsed under economic strain and political instability. And today, the United States, the current superpower, is grappling with its own set of challenges. So, the lesson here is clear. No empire, no matter how powerful, is immune to decline. The causes vary: overextension, internal decay, economic strain, or the inability to adapt to changing circumstances. But the outcome is the same: the fall. History may not repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes. As we look to the future, we would do well to remember the lessons of the past.